All right, welcome to another song title challenge. This is where climbers, listeners of this podcast, send in their song titles. Send in some stuff from the beginning of your hook book, your dead wilted lettuce. Send it in. I put it in the right folder. You got to send it to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. Info@daredevilproduction.com. You put the song title challenge in the subject line so it gets in the right folder. Send in those titles. You send as many as you want on the titles. I spring one live to Brent on the podcast. And then for the next 15 minutes, we recreate what happens in a first 15 minutes of a pro write, where before we start writing lyrics, we just try to find 4 or 5 different conceptual approaches or angles to write that title to make sure that we've got the coolest angle to go before we dig into and start getting married to lyrics. This is a fun, creative exercise. It's not a co-write in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that we do request and that we require is an invitation to the number one party. So you can use as much of what we say or none of what we say. It's all good. Anything you want to add to that, Brent?
I'm really glad that I get to do most of the talking on this one because you're failing miserably at that, depending on how much I edited
I'm on
out.
a struggle bus this morning. All right. So this is from, the email is Keith Lambert and the email was signed Keith Lambert and Daryl Prophet. So maybe it's 2 people. I just want to mention them both, I guess, since it was in the email. And here is the song title.
Hey, before you tell me that, has anyone sent in Dead Wilted Lettuce as a song title yet? Because you often use that to describe these old hooks. I'm like, someone's going to send in Dead Wilted Lettuce.
And nobody should. Nobody should ever do that. We have to think about Jurassic Park. They were so busy worrying about if they could. They didn't think about if they should. No, you shouldn't. You should not send that in. But, I mean, one of the benefits of this is this exercise, 15 minutes, if you go back to old hooks in your hook book, and Brent, you've done this and actually gotten holds or cuts, right?
I've gotten some good reaction out of this.
You know, stuff that you just didn't have any energy in those words. I believe in that. I believe there's energy when you write something down and it sort of fades over time, but you can reignite it very easily by going back and doing this exercise. So here we go. This is from Keith Lambert and Daryl Prophet. The title is Rattlesnakes and Molasses.
Okay.
Rattlesnakes and Molasses.
Okay, I'm just writing that down.
First of all, I think that's an interesting title. Like, this could go very cheesy or very cool, but it's almost like clickbait. If I'm a publisher, I want to just, where is this going to go?
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it about 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Because it's most likely going to be a train wreck. But I think you almost want to click on and be like, this is going to be a train wreck or not? If you're a publisher and this song makes it to your desk, then there's a filter that happens somewhere and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What's going on here? Yeah. I'm just out of curiosity, if nothing else. So Rattlesnakes and Molasses, right? It's an and, not an N. All right. So Rattlesnakes and Molasses. First thing I think of is that sounds like a whiskey or some sort of moonshine.
Right.
You know, it's got the bite, but sweetness to it because molasses is really sweet. So I'm like, new from Old Crow, rattlesnakes and molasses, sipping whiskey or moonshine.
Yeah. Was that Colonel Popcorn or Uncle Popcorn?
Yeah. Popcorn Sutton. Popcorn
Sutton. That's it. Popcorn Sutton. Yeah.
Come to me with all your alcohol questions, Johnny. I'll set you straight.
I know, Brent. What the hell? How do you know that?
It was on a billboard down on Broadway.
Hey, allegedly, I saw that on a billboard.
On a park bench billboard down on Broadway. So, all right. Rattlesnakes and Molasses. So it definitely sounds like a hip hop thing. No, it definitely sounds country. Or a hip hop thing, possibly, which could be kind of cool if you go, what would this be like if it's like a Colt Ford kind of Big Smo kind of thing? Otherwise, it sounds more like a Montgomery Gentry or one of those kind of Southern rock country. You know, it feels very backwoods rocking kind of thing, like praise the Lord and pass the ammunition, pass me a copperhead, you know? Praise the Lord, and pass me a copperhead, which is like in a Montgomery Gentry song, I believe.
Praise the Lord and pass me the Diamondback.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I got an idea. You started to touch on it with, it sounds like a liquor, right? So it kind of hits you hard and then it goes down sweet. Well, what if you're describing a girl like that?
Yeah, she's like rattlesnakes and molasses.
Maybe she's that girl that's brash. You always know where you stand. She doesn't pull any punches. It's almost like she doesn't have empathy. She's just going to tell the truth and she can't help it.
Yeah.
And it's shaky. It's off-putting. It's brash, I guess is the best
Yeah.
word, right? It makes people uncomfortable, but then you always know where you stand. She's always truthful. She doesn't have an agenda. And when you get to know her, she's sweet like molasses.
She's just keeping it real and keeping it rural.
There you go. She's keeping it rural. That's a nice hook at it. You never say keep it real. You say she's just keeping it rural. This is how we do it out here.
I've written that, by the way.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, we haven't got a cut, but we pitched it for Colt Ford. But anyway, I'm just keeping it rural, like the rat I live on. Anyway, so it could be that girl that is sweet but venomous. It could be the thing where maybe she's not the good girl. She's the heartbreaker. She's rattlesnakes and molasses. You don't see it coming, or she's good looking. She knows how to shake it.
Country girl, shake it for me.
She knows how to shake it because she's a rattlesnake, right?
That's a Skid Row lyric. Shake, shake, shake it like a rattlesnake.
Oh, it is?
Boom, boom, baby, out go the lights.
So there we go. She knows how to shake it, and she's sweet as... I'm trying to think of the molasses. Well, you think of glasses, like whiskey glasses, and you think of something else that's just the last part of molasses, which may not work on country radio.
I think you go down and talk about molasses, right? Like it's real sweet. It's slow.
Slow. That's what I think. Like she's sweet and she's slow, but man, when she strikes, it's like rattlesnake strikes so quickly.
Yeah.
That's an opposite thing of molasses, like the slow as molasses, right? That's a saying. It's slow, it's sweet. A rattlesnake is quick and venomous. So these are very opposite things. But they're both country. They both fit in the country vernacular.
So where can we go from there?
Maybe I'm always caught between rattlesnakes and molasses.
Oh, I like that. That just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the fast women, right? They're the good time party, hell yeah girls that are rattlesnakes. Like they're quick to the point,
Right.
but venomous. You know, they break my heart. And then there's the sweet molasses, but slow. So you're going to have to hold hands for a while and walk her home and that kind of stuff. And so, man, I'm just caught between rattlesnakes and molasses.
So it could be I'm caught between rattlesnakes and molasses. Like you keep dating the rattlesnakes, but you want the molasses, or it's too much molasses and not enough rattlesnake. Right. And so it's the country version of you want a lady on the street and a freak in the bed.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm torn between these good girls that she's just sweet. She's awesome. And this one, she's really, really fun. Like immediately.
Yeah.
Short-term, long-term benefit we're talking about here. A salad and grilled chicken is going to be good for me in the long run. I'm going to feel great. It's going to be good for me. But dadgum, I really like some beer and pizza right now.
Yeah.
But it's fun in the moment, but you pay for it. I don't want to get stuck on the rhyme because the idea is more important than the rhyme. But
well, okay, so how about the pros and cons of the rattlesnakes in verse 1, the pros and cons of the molasses in verse 2, and then the bridge, it's like now I find the perfect blend. Yeah. She's all that. She's just the right amount of molasses with enough rattlesnake to scratch that itch. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be the whole song is set in that tension of I want it both. I want it all.
What if you're rattlesnake and she's molasses?
Yeah, it could be that.
Balance each other out.
But it could be like I got a temper. Not abuse, but a hothead, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you describe yourself and then you met her, and it's sort of like a country version of Big Bad Bill is Sweet William now.
Yeah, which referring to yourself as a rattlesnake, it's a specific brand that could get away with that because there's such a negative connotation to rattlesnake.
Yeah, an outlaw brand.
But if the right kind of, outlaw brand, like you said, you could get away with something like that, just to having to explain it, what you mean by rattlesnake. Normally you think rattlesnake, you think all definitely negative connotation. He's dangerous in a bad way. And
well, that's true. Snake is going to be negative.
Yeah, it's all negative. So that'd be a heavy lift to turn that into something positive.
That's a good point.
But it's just something to be aware of. And it might just be like, well, if we go for it, it's going to be awesome if it's the right brand. So far, I'm digging I'm always caught between rattlesnakes and molasses. I want them both. I want that Sunday dresses and...
Is that wrong? There's a hook right there, So somewhere in there, you just work it out. It's like, I like this and I like this. Is that wrong?
Yeah. I think a lot of guys are there like, I know the good girl because she's good and she's sweet.
Oh my God, hello.
I like Sandra D, but I also like Sandy. And I think a lot of dudes are there, right? Like your head knows like that's a good girl, but she's not as wild as I am. I don't know if it'd work out, but she's cool. But then, boy, here's this immediate gratification, even though I know she's a heartbreaker and it's not going to last kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm trapped between rattlesnakes and molasses.
Oh, okay. So here's a little deeper one. I don't know if there's enough room in a song to develop this, but crazy sidebar. One of the things I learned in therapy before I got married, and it cleared up a lot of stuff for me, was like, you triggered this because of the way you're describing it, but there's 4 kinds of relationships, okay? And 2 of them don't make good marriages and 2 of them do. So the first kind of relationship is like a rudder. That's just 2 consenting adults getting together for the fun of sheer sex. Okay. And then the second one is allies, which is like your typical Hollywood relationship. That's two people that have the same short-term goals, but not the same long-term goals. And so they're fun and they're interesting, but they don't last long, right? And they don't make good marriages. The third one are partnerships, and that's two people with the same long-term goals, but they do have an end to them, but they make good marriages. And then the final one are soulmates. And that's like, even if we're going to rob banks and kill people, as long as I'm doing it with you, I'm in. But maybe it's a song about, you got to recognize the rattlesnake and you got to recognize the molasses. And then you got to pick which one you want. You could have some fun with putting some furniture in on the rattlesnake situations. Again, almost like pros and cons. I love it when she does this, but when that happens in the bar, when she just freaks out because some girl looks at me or something, it's there's a lot of roads you could go down to create some interesting content.
One's the much more obvious. I love the way she shakes it, but man, she'll strike. She's venomous when she's mad.
Ooh, I love the way she shakes it, but then when she strikes,
stand back.
Your blood gets thin.
It's like, whew, you done. But then the molasses is like, you got to be patient. You got to let her have her time. But, oh, man, so sweet. She'll sweeten up your tea, baby. Or on biscuit. These girls are very different. But I love both rattlesnakes and molasses. Maybe that is. I love them both, man. And I'm not having to choose. Maybe it's not the tension. It's just, I love them both, rattlesnakes and molasses.
And is that wrong, right? It could go like a T.G. Shepherd route. Your big, little, old, shoulder tall.
Wish I could have
kept them all. I loved them, everyone. And it could be something like that, like rattlesnakes and molasses. You could talk about, because it's an affirmative thing and you're saying, I love this, and I also love this. I mean, you could really go down the rattlesnake route. Without it being condescending or degrading or anything like that. It would just be like, man, when they got the pepper in the blood, I'm like,
And maybe, this guy goes back and forth. I'll date a rattlesnake, and then I'm ready for a palate cleanser. I'm ready for some molasses. And then after that, I'm like, all right, ready for a rattlesnake.
Why is it that the molasses makes me want a rattlesnake and the rattlesnake makes me want the molasses?
After it's over, I tend to ping pong between those two things. So that could be a cool thing.
What else we got? Something outside the box here, like not a girl.
Well, it could be going back to that first idea about some sort of moonshine, like that dust on the bottle or white lightning. How about that old guy back in the hills? And that stuff bit me like rattlesnakes and molasses. Just talking about the moonshine or the homebrew.
Yeah, it could be describing an experience, or like you said, what if that was the name of it? And then you could co-brand the song with the liquor. Then he brought out the rattlesnakes and molasses. And I'm like, wait, what?
Rattlesnakes and molasses. I'm like, excuse me?
Just try this.
And it hit me like rattlesnakes and molasses. Knocked us on our backs. Paid more than taxes.
We didn't pay any taxes.
Right. Straight out the still. I can hear that being kind of a Southern rock thing about this backwoods story about bringing out the rattlesnakes and molasses.
What if it's a metaphor for life?
Life is full of rattlesnakes and molasses. It seems like the good things happen slow and the bad stuff strikes quickly.
Oh, look at that just happened. That just happened.
I like that angle. That could be kind of cool.
Why do the good things happen slow and the bad things happen quickly? Rattlesnakes and molasses.
Seems like every year that passes is full of rattlesnakes and molasses.
Ooh, hello, come on, let's go.
So just tee me up, Johnny. Tee me up.
This is fun.
Okay, now make it about a horse.
I love it. Now make me hate it. There you go.
Right. Because I feel with this title, it's got to be some banjos, it's got to have some dirt on it. It's not going to be a Sam Hunt thing, I don't think. Sam's great, but I don't see him doing this kind of thing. I don't think that's the brand we're going for.
He can't sell that.
It's more like the God's Country version of Blake, or you could do Chris Stapleton kind of thing, or Montgomery Gentry, or, some of that stuff, the Skinner Southern rock kind of stuff. But that would be a cool, deeper way to do it. It's like every year is just full of rattlesnakes and molasses.
What if that's also, and maybe this is part of the same thing, but you could describe a lot of country like that, couldn't you? Parts of Montana or parts of Texas, rattlesnakes and molasses. You get the good with the bad. And you got to take it all. But that's it's rough country, but it's also solitary. I'm not cityfied.
Got sweetness to it. The land is harsh, but the people are cool.
Yeah, sweet, something like that. Maybe that could be very cool.
That could do something. I almost wonder if you do the rattlesnakes and molasses, talking about life. How to partly I deal with it? I fill up whiskey glasses with rattlesnakes and molasses. Something that stings but is sweet. You could do something like that.
Yeah.
It could be the name of a bull if it's a rodeo song.
Oh, Now that goes anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that's kind of a cool phrase, go, name it a bull in a rodeo song. That always works. That's the name of a bull.
I remember Fu Manchu, 2.8
Fu
seconds.
Manchu, exactly.
On a bull named Fu Manchu.
Yep.
Shout out to Craig Wiseman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think we got some good angles there.
Yeah, we're coming up on time. So
if these two fellers here, Keith Lambert and Daryl Prophet, want to reach out to you to do some other private song title challenges or maybe work on this song or any other song they have to repair or
prepare.
What do you call it?
Repair or prepare your song. Yeah, you can just find me at songwritingpro.com/coaching. I do song feedback. I do private consulting, or if you want to get together with a buddy and do some coaching together so you can split it, that's cool too. I'm not too hardcore about that stuff. So that's fine. But yeah, I have people do private song title challenges. So you just don't put them on the air. I have people bring in song ideas and woodshed them, and I help you write them sometimes. And other times it's just Q&A and picking my brain. And basically I'm just at your service to do whatever I can do to help you on your climb. So this is songwritingpro.com/coaching.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of another killer song title challenge episode. If you have song titles, please send them in to info@daredevilproduction.com. Put song title challenge in the subject line, and we'll read it on the air. You can send as many as you want. We need more all the time just so we can dig in. And I just pick from them. I just pull out the ones I think are the most interesting, or even if there's a certain blandness to it, I shoot it on Brent to see, okay, word boy, what can you do with this? Yeah. But that's that, guys. This podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.